Chosen one, God said you're not broke. You're in a transfer season. This is not just a title. This is a declaration over your life, a shift in your atmosphere, a spiritual announcement whispered from heaven and now echoing through your very soul. What you once labeled as lack, what you once experienced as dry, what you once endured as not enough, has been completely redefined by God's perfect timing. You are not broke. You are not being punished. You are not invisible. You are being positioned. You are being shifted. You are standing on the edge of the greatest transfer season of your life, one that will shock even your imagination. And everything you thought you lost? It's not just coming back. It's coming back with interest, multiplied, accelerated, blessed, unlocked. You are in a divine season of exchange, and God is funding what He called you to do. Watch this video until the end, chosen one. You're not just here by accident. Something miraculous is trying to reach you. And write your warmest wishes in the comments. And type 777 as a sign to the universe that you are ready, open, and aligned with this wealth transfer. Let us flood this space with expectancy. Your wish is not weak. It is a seed, and every seed knows exactly when to bloom. Now, chosen one, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's start. Let's get this clear. Being broke is not a bank balance. It's a mindset. It's a perspective. But the chosen ones have a different lens. They see delay as preparation, restriction as redirection, and silence as strategy. If your bank account has looked still, if your inbox is quiet, if your phone isn't ringing, it does not mean you're behind. It means your spiritual assets are loading. It means the systems that were blocking your overflow are being dismantled. God is not allowing crumbs to fall from your table anymore. Instead, He's preparing a table that honors your obedience, your waiting, your resilience, your refusal to fold. Don't measure your wealth by what you see. Measure it by what you carry. And you, chosen one, carry legacy-level abundance. This transfer season is not like the others. This is not a trickle. This is not a tease. This is not one opportunity here and there. This is floodgate living. This is when the heavens agree with your preparation and suddenly release everything at once. You may be wondering why your life felt locked up lately, why certain doors stayed shut, why every effort seemed to be met with resistance. It's because God was arranging timed deposits, breakthroughs that will only release when your spirit is fully ready to hold the weight of them. And guess what? You're ready now. The shift has begun. This isn't a drill. You're standing in the season where it all flips in your favor, not by accident, but by divine design. There's something you need to understand about transfer seasons. They feel slow, but they move fast. It's like watching water boil. Nothing happens, and then everything happens. First, the internal pressure builds. Then, the surface begins to stir. And finally, it erupts with energy. You've been in the buildup. You've felt the internal resistance, the divine tension, the quiet correction. But now, the stirring has begun. The invisible movement in the spirit is shifting the visible pieces on earth. People will start mentioning your name in rooms you've never entered. Documents will suddenly be approved. Ideas you once abandoned will suddenly gain traction. Because this transfer season doesn't require your effort. It only requires your alignment. You must be bold now. Fear will lie to you and say, "This is not real." Doubt will whisper, "Nothing is changing." But your faith must rise above those voices, because this season belongs to the believer. This isn't the time to quit. This isn't the time to shrink. This is the time to stretch your hands like a vessel and say, "I'm ready to receive what belongs to me." You were never created to beg. You were never called to survive. You were designed to dominate. And the transfer season is God's proof that your identity is not in your lack, but in His abundance. There is a reason why you feel things shifting, even when your surroundings still look the same. That is the mark of the chosen one. You perceive the transfer before you touch it. You feel the breakthrough before it breaks. You know the rain is coming before you see the cloud. That sensitivity is your gift. And in this season, it is your confirmation. Don't let the enemy convince you that because you haven't received a yes yet, God forgot you. In fact, the delay was a layer of protection. He was hiding you until the blessing matured enough to be released safely into your hands. He didn't say no. He said, not yet, but soon. And now, the soon has arrived. You are not in debt. You are in development. You are not struggling. You are being strengthened. You are not left behind. You are being launched. And what is being transferred to you is not just money. It's position, it's territory, it's divine keys, it's influence, it's favor, it's ownership. There are people right now preparing rooms, opening budgets, designing opportunities that have your name on them. And they don't even know why. They're obeying a spiritual tug. Because heaven has whispered your identity to the earth, and now the earth is responding with delivery. You will be delivered from cycles, delivered from shame, delivered from lack, delivered from the lie that your story won't change, delivered from the weight of wondering when your turn will come. And your turn is not next. It's now. The transfer season means the tables are turning. The runners are coming. The divine mail is being sent. The spiritual vaults are opening. And nothing can block what God has already scheduled. The system that tried to rob you is now under divine arrest. The pain that tried to break you is now a story of glory. The years that seemed wasted will suddenly pay off like a compounded investment. This is divine ROI. Return on integrity. Return on intercession. Return on intention. And hear this clearly. This transfer season does not require begging. It requires believing. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. And heaven knows your name. The angels assigned to your case have not gone silent. They've been gathering resources, aligning relationships, and preparing breakthroughs in secret. Now is the time when the unseen becomes seen. You will no longer have to explain yourself. You will no longer have to fight for validation. The blessing will speak so loudly that even your silence will echo with victory. You may have been quiet. You may have been overlooked. You may have been doubted. But you have not been denied. You are a kingdom asset, a royal vessel. And in this season, God is transferring what the enemy has illegally held onto. You are stepping into harvests you didn't plant, receiving deposits you didn't see coming, living in homes you once only dreamed of. This is not arrogance. This is inheritance. This is restoration. This is heaven's refund. You are not broke. You are not behind. You are not done. You are blessed beyond calculation, rich in destiny, and strategically positioned for overflow. And you will no longer walk with your head down. You will walk with favor wrapped around your shoulders. God has spoken over your life and said, "Let the transfer begin." And nothing on earth can undo what heaven has already released. The transfer that is coming is not just financial, chosen one. It is dimensional. This is a relocation of your reality, a lifting of limitations, a total repositioning from the ordinary into the extraordinary. When God says transfer, He is not just talking about giving you something new. He is talking about removing what doesn't match your next level and replacing it with what does. He is stripping the dust of delay off your shoulders and adorning you with the cloak of divine acceleration. That's why everything around you has felt unstable. The shaking you're feeling isn't destruction, it's transition. The reason some people left, the reason some doors slammed shut, the reason your usual paths dried up was because you could not afford to carry the old into this wealth shift. You are not being reduced, you are being redefined. And I know it has been tough. The nights when you questioned your decisions, the mornings when you had to talk yourself into hope, The days when you almost convinced yourself to settle, but God wouldn't let you. Even when you wanted to turn back, something kept pulling you forward. That was the evidence of the call. That was proof you were marked for more. And now the more is making its entrance. This transfer season is not a test, it's a reward. A reward for the times you obeyed without clarity, for the moments you gave without recognition, for the seeds you sowed in private while others were shouting in public. You stayed faithful, you stayed hidden, you stayed ready. And now it's time to receive what was stored up for the faithful. You didn't miss your moment. It was maturing. It was being timed. Like fruit ripening on a tree, your blessings had a spiritual release date. And now, the branch is heavy. The fruit is ready. The time has come. God is saying, I'm shifting what looked delayed into what is now displayed. You will go from waiting to walking, from hoping to holding, from praying to possessing. What was promised is now present. And when it arrives, it will come not just to sustain you, but to elevate you. Let this encourage you. The transfer season is not happening to you. It's happening for you. This is not some random stroke of luck. This is not coincidence. This is not you getting a break. This is spiritual currency being moved into your life because God sees you as trustworthy with divine resources. You were tested in lack, and now you will be trusted with abundance. You were refined by rejection, and now you will be promoted through recognition. But even more, you will be anchored. This blessing will not toss you around. It will establish you. This increase will not inflate your ego. It will empower your purpose. Some of the people who laughed at your obedience will now see the results of your faith. Some of the people who thought you were crazy for walking away from comfort will now witness the crown that was waiting for you on the other side. God is preparing a presentation, not for your ego, but for your elevation. He said, I will prepare a table before you in the presence of those who thought it was over for you. And guess what? The table is almost ready. You are not just in a transfer season. You are in a reversal season. The very thing that tried to destroy you is now becoming the platform that builds you. The places where you were once overlooked will now be places where you are overbooked. The rooms you once felt too small for will now feel tailor-made for your presence. And it's not because you changed the game, it's because the game has now caught up with your purpose. The timing has aligned, the energy has shifted, the path has cleared, and your name has been etched in heaven's schedule for supernatural delivery. And here's the best part. This transfer will not require you to exhaust yourself. You won't have to push this door open. It will swing wide with ease. You won't have to beg for approval. The approval has already been signed in the heavens. You won't have to manipulate connections. The connections are already being drawn to you. Because when the transfer is of God, it flows. It confirms itself. It multiplies without stress. The chosen ones don't chase. They attract. And right now, favor is magnetized to your name. So prepare. Prepare not in fear, but in faith. Get your house in order. Clear the mental clutter. Let go of the weights you were never meant to carry. The transfer is not going to wait for your permission. It is going to obey divine instruction. You won't have time to doubt. You won't have time to delay. When the moment comes, you will be required to step in ready. That's why you've been feeling the inner pressure. That's why your soul has been restless. That's why the old strategies no longer work. Because you're being invited into a new dimension where only alignment grants access. Chosen one, can you feel it? The momentum that's building beneath the surface. The vibration in your spirit that says something massive is about to collide with your life. That's not emotion. That's prophecy. That's not fantasy. That's fulfillment. Don't silence it. Don't suppress it. Tune into it. Speak over it. Affirm it. You are not broke. You are blessed beyond measure, and the measure is being poured out now. This is what overflow looks like. Not chaos, but clarity. Not panic, but peace. Not noise, but knowing. Let this be the moment you rise. Let this be the moment you align. Let this be the moment where you no longer apologize for expecting divine reward. You've sacrificed. You've surrendered. You've stayed faithful. And now, you're stepping into the season where all of heaven agrees with your obedience. Don't worry about what's in your account. Pay attention to what's in your assignment, because the transfer is about to bring resources that match your responsibility. And when it hits, you won't be the same. You'll walk different, talk different, move different. Because you'll know, God did this. There is a level of transformation that only happens when a transfer occurs. And this is not simply about receiving more. It's about becoming more. You are stepping into an identity shift just as much as a financial one. God is not merely transferring assets into your life. He's transferring wisdom, discipline, clarity, and spiritual authority. Because what's coming to you requires not just open hands, but an upgraded mindset. You are no longer operating from survival. You are moving in stewardship. And that shift alone changes everything. You are no longer scrambling to make things happen. You are being summoned into rooms where things are already prepared. And it's not because of luck, but because of lineage. You are heaven-backed, heaven-funded, and heaven-sent. That's why it's been heavy. That's why the warfare intensified before this moment. Because the enemy knew what was about to be released to you. And he did everything to make you disqualify yourself. He sent distractions, delays, betrayals, and mental fog to keep you from seeing clearly. But here you are, still standing, still believing, still expecting, still carrying divine fire in your chest. That is the proof that you've passed the pressure test. You endured the fight, and now comes the favor. You survived the sifting, and now comes the securing. You weren't overlooked. You were being observed. God has been watching your reaction to not having, to being denied, to being misunderstood. And he saw what others missed. He saw a soul that refused to fold, a spirit that wouldn't break, a heart that remained tender, even in the trenches. And that's who the transfer is for. Not the loudest, not the most followed, not the flashiest, but the faithful, the ones who keep sowing when it's dry, the ones who forgive when it's hard, the ones who pray when they feel nothing, the ones who keep trusting when all evidence says, quit. The transfer is coming to those who built altars in silence, who grew roots while others chased platforms, who stayed hidden in obedience while others chased applause. You were not wasting time. You were investing in destiny. And now destiny is investing in you. This transfer season will begin subtly. A conversation that seems random but leads to opportunity. An old contact that suddenly reappears with favor. A small open door that expands into an entire building. Don't dismiss the little signs. They are divine signals. The butterflies in your belly. The unusual calm in your spirit. The inner tug to clean, to plan, to prepare. That's not random. That's the Holy Spirit preparing your container to receive what's being released. Because God never pours new wine into old wineskins. He stretches the vessel before the pour. And you, chosen one, have been stretched. Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, even financially. But now the pour begins. Do not be surprised when the shift happens rapidly. Transfer seasons don't always give warnings. They give suddenlies. Suddenly the call comes. Suddenly the offer appears. Suddenly the way is made. Suddenly the accounts overflow. And when it happens, you must respond in boldness. This is not the time to second-guess what you prayed for. This is the time to stand firm, smile wide, and say, I knew it was coming. I was born for this. Because you were. You weren't created for crumbs. You were designed for kingdoms. That's why the favor didn't stick to others. That's why the doors didn't open for just anyone. It had your name on it from the beginning. And what's powerful is this: the transfer isn't just for you, it's through you. God is blessing you to become a blessing. You will become a well in the wilderness. You will fund visions. You will support movements. You will sponsor callings. You will break chains off generations because you dared to rise into your divine economy. This is more than money. This is about mission. This is about multiplying light. God is making you a distributor of breakthrough, a vessel of divine generosity, a channel of kingdom influence. And you can't play small when you're called to carry that kind of weight. There will be people who won't understand your sudden rise. Let them watch. Let them question. Let them doubt. But don't let their misunderstanding delay your obedience. You owe no one an explanation for the blessing you endured for. They weren't there when you cried. They weren't there when you fasted. They weren't there when you said yes while trembling. They didn't feel the cost. So they don't get to dictate the reward. This is between you and God. And God says, "You're not broke. You're being funded." You are being moved from overlooked to overflow, from delay to divine delivery, from hidden to highlighted. And it's not because of hustle. It's because of heaven. This is supernatural. This is unprecedented. This is uncommon. This is yours. And once the transfer starts, it will not stop. One door will open 5 more. One idea will fund a movement. One yes will cancel years of pain. One divine instruction will unlock what years of grinding could never touch. So be alert. Watch for the signs. Keep your spirit uncluttered. Stay in position. Because the divine transfer is not just a moment, it's a movement. It is a total life change that will leave no area untouched. Your family will feel it. Your health will reflect it. Your sleep will become sweeter. Your name will be carried on the winds of favor. And those who once doubted your vision will become witnesses to your testimony. Not because you begged for it, but because you believed for it. The power of this transfer season is not just in the arrival of wealth, favor, or open doors. It is in the realization that the drought was never about your worth. You were never being punished. You were being preserved. You were never forgotten. You were being forged. Because when you are chosen, when the blueprint on your life is heaven-authored and kingdom-backed, you do not move like everyone else. Your path is different. Your timing is divine. Your arrival is orchestrated. And what looks like delay in the natural is actually divine setup in the spirit. The reason things didn't happen earlier is because they weren't big enough, high enough, or pure enough to match your calling. And now, what does match is making its way to you. Let this part settle deep in your soul. You are not behind. That is the loudest lie whispered to God's chosen ones. The idea that everyone else is further along, that you're playing catch-up, that your moment missed the mark. No, you are right on time, because the transfer could not happen until the system that held your inheritance hostage began to collapse. And that's what you're seeing now. Systems folding, markets shaking, strategies failing. And in the midst of that, God is creating space for divine wealth to land. Your wealth is not being earned by striving. It is being released through surrender. What you yield to in obedience will yield back to you in abundance. What you align with in spirit will manifest in the physical. This is not theory. This is reality, waiting for your agreement. This is also why you feel a fresh urgency inside you. That sudden wave of clarity, the push to organize, the desire to separate yourself from distractions. It's not a random mood. It's the voice of the Spirit saying, "Make room, it's coming." Because cluttered hands can't catch blessings. Heavy hearts can't handle elevation. Double-mindedness can't discern the magnitude of a divine moment. So don't be surprised if God is trimming your circle, simplifying your calendar, or silencing certain voices. He is not isolating you to punish you. He is isolating you to prepare you. What's about to enter your life is too sacred to be shared with unqualified minds. Your responsibility right now is not to predict how the transfer will happen. Your only task is to position yourself. Stand in expectancy. Declare boldly. Keep your spiritual gates clean. Refuse to entertain fear. When God said, "You're not broke, you're in a transfer season," He wasn't just addressing your finances. He was announcing your deliverance. Deliverance from scarcity thinking, from generational limitations, from the false humility that told you wealth wasn't holy. God is reclaiming what's His, and He's using you to do it. You've likely noticed that your dreams have become more vivid. Your inner senses more alert. Your discernment sharper. That's not a coincidence. In a transfer season, the spirit realm becomes more active, because heaven is preparing to deposit divine revelation, divine instruction, and divine provision. And those who are sensitive enough will catch it and rise. You, chosen one, are being upgraded not only in what you receive, but in how you receive. You're not just being blessed with opportunity, you're being trained to manage it, multiply it, and protect it. There is also a divine warning encoded in every transfer season. Don't sabotage it. Don't downplay it. Don't delay it. Don't compare it. Because what God is sending is custom designed for your destiny. It may not look like anyone else's story, and that's exactly the point. Your route is different. Your assignment is unique. Your blessing has a fingerprint that matches your obedience. So trust it. Embrace it. Don't look around. Look up. Your supply doesn't come from man. It comes from God. And when it comes from Him, it has no sorrow attached to it. It's not bait. It's not manipulation. It's not a trade. It's a gift. Because grace always outruns performance. This gift, however, will demand new stewardship. You can't handle kingdom resources with a casual spirit. That's why God took His time maturing you, detoxing you, training your character while the blessing was still locked. Because an immature soul can fumble a divine fortune. But you've been through enough loss to value gain. You've been through enough darkness to honor light. You've seen enough lack to carry abundance with gratitude and precision. That's why God trusts you now. The transfer is not just about provision, it's about promotion. He's promoting you in the spirit, raising your profile, elevating your essence. You are no longer someone chasing after wealth. You are someone carrying the weight of wealth with purpose. And let me tell you something else beautiful. This transfer will redeem the time. The years you lost in confusion. The relationships that drained your energy. The jobs that suppressed your brilliance. The seasons where you settled for less. All of that is now being gathered into one redemptive miracle that makes sense of everything. The tears weren't wasted. The pain wasn't pointless. The silence wasn't rejection. It was refinement. And now, the blessing is not just what you receive, it's who you've become. Get ready to feel lighter, because the burden of wondering how is being lifted. Get ready to feel bolder, because the insecurity that questioned if you're worthy is being erased. Get ready to walk differently, because the heaviness of lack is being broken. You're not operating from desperation. You're operating from dominion. And the evidence of the transfer will not just be seen in your account, but in your aura, in your confidence, in your decisions, in your voice. You'll speak like someone who knows they're backed by heaven. God is doing this in such a way that you'll look back and laugh at the times you worried. You'll say, "That's what I was stressing about? I had no idea how covered I was. The coverage was there all along. You just hadn't reached the release point yet. But now, the release has been initiated. The angels have been dispatched. The divine vault has been unlocked. The coded appointments are arriving. And all that's left for you to do is walk into it." This part of your journey, chosen one, is where you stop surviving the storm and begin stewarding the season. The transfer is not coming to give you a temporary moment of relief. It is coming to anchor your legacy. This is long-term. This is generational. This is wealth that carries responsibility, visibility, and divine accountability. And that's why God had to make sure your character matured before the cash arrived. That's why he had to prepare your nervous system before the networks came. That's why he had to train your discernment before he opened the doors. Because what is being transferred is not fragile, it is fortified. And so must you be. You will no longer confuse hustle with alignment. You will no longer mistake popularity for purpose. You will no longer crave validation because you now operate from revelation. That is what this transfer season has activated in you. A permanent awareness of who you are and whose you are. No more shrinking. No more hiding your light so others feel comfortable. No more negotiating with fear or procrastination. You've waited long enough. You've paid in obedience. You've endured the refining fire. And now you emerge not as a seeker, but as a steward. This transfer is not a reward for what you did. It's confirmation of who you are. Understand something very clearly. When you carry divine assignments, heaven ensures you are not left without divine assistance. The reason the resources are transferring is because your assignment is expanding, and heaven always funds its vision. You are not being given wealth to boast, but to build. You are being resourced to rise. God is not just giving you access, He's giving you authority. The kind that can't be stolen, faked, or ignored. When you speak, doors will respond. When you move, territory will shift. When you show up, things will accelerate. Not because you're loud, but because you are anointed. This is not a time to hesitate. This is not a time to rehearse your pain. You are not here to replay what hurt you. You are here to multiply what healed you. The story is no longer about what you went through. It's about what is breaking through. The wealth that's coming isn't just for comfort. It's for confrontation. To confront every lie you believed about lack. To confront every pattern that held your bloodline in bondage. To confront every generational voice that told you to be quiet, to settle, to dim your fire. You are the breaker. You are the bridge. You are the one that heaven trusted with the shift. And now it's here. Not because you demanded it, but because you prepared for it. And this is key. What you do with this transfer will set the tone for what multiplies next. This isn't the end. It's the entrance. Your stewardship will determine the scale. And you will not waste it. You will not fumble it. You will not squander the sacred. Because you have too much clarity now. You've tasted emptiness. You've walked through silence. You've learned what not to do. And now that knowledge is gold. God is about to use every scar you carry as strategy for others. You will become a blueprint, a portal of possibility. People will look at your life and see the fingerprints of God. There's a new confidence being installed inside of you, one that doesn't flinch when things stretch, one that doesn't apologize for taking up space, one that no longer waits for confirmation, because you are the confirmation. You are the prophecy fulfilled, the prayer answered, the proof that God still writes wild stories, the evidence that favor isn't always flashy. Sometimes it's forged in silence and delivered in overflow. The financial increase that is coming is merely a reflection of the spiritual equity you've built. The influence that's arriving is a mirror of the obedience you've walked in. Nothing is random. Everything is reconciled. And the transfer was never about making you rich. It was about making you ready. Ready to lead. Ready to build. Ready to stand. Ready to bless. Ready to walk with excellence, purpose, precision, and peace. And yes, peace will be the loudest blessing of all.